Okay, guys, let's do some more rational expressions. So on this number 9, notice we actually have an equation here. See the equals there? So what are we going to do is, first of all, we're going to factor the denominators. So remember, well, that's what we're going to do. So this I notice I can factor. They both have an n in them. So I could say n times n plus 2. This is the same denominator, so n plus 2 as well. N plus 2, of course, can't be factored, but notice how n plus 2 is in all three denominators. The first and third denominator here, though, has an n. So our common denominator, guys, is n plus 2. n plus 2. n plus 2. And so as you can see on the setup here, we can cross those out since we have them factored below, right? And so hopefully this is still legible enough. Now notice how I times everything by n plus 2. Now what does that do? Well, we can cancel out the n here now. We can cancel out the n plus 2's. Notice the only thing left is a 1. Now be careful, that is a minus. In our middle term here, notice the n plus 2's cancel out. I'm left with n times 1, which is n, equals, and the last expression, let's call it, the n's cancel out, the n plus 2's cancel out, and what I'm left with is n minus 2. And now we can solve this much easier equation, right? I'm going to start by adding n to both sides. Why? Gets rid of minus n, and now my n is a positive 2n on the right. Let's go ahead and also add 2 to both sides. That gets rid of the minus 2, and 2 plus 1 is 3. So, solving for n, all I have to do is divide by 2, and I know that n equals 3 halves. So how do we do that again, guys? We factor the denominator, then we times everything by the common denominator. Let's try it one more time here. So this time, notice there's nothing to factor. n, and n plus 4 can't be factored, but when I combine them, I'm going to get my common denominator. So my common denominator is going to be an n with an n plus 4. So what I'm going to do is just go n plus 4, n plus 4, n plus 4. Now let's see what happens. Here the n's cancel out, and be careful, what I'm left with there is a 3 and an n plus 4. I got to distribute, times those together, so that's a 3n plus 12. 3 times n is 3n, 3 times a 4 is 12. Now be careful, there is a minus here. So I'm going to actually put a parentheses because I may have to distribute the minus. Now here the n's cancel out. What am I left with is n plus 4 times 1, which is n plus 4, equals. Now over on the right side, the n plus 4's cancel out. What am I left with there is n times 1, which is n. Now notice it was key to put this parentheses here, guys, because the minus I have to distribute here. So let's see, I have a 3n plus 12. I have a minus n and a minus 4 equal to n. Now I'm ready to solve this equation. The 3n and the minus n is 2n. The 12 minus 4 is 8. Okay, so it looks like what I'm going to do next is let's just go ahead and minus 2 in both sides. So this 8 is going to equal negative 1n. n minus 2n is 1n, negative 1n. And so when I divide by negative 1, 8 divided by negative 1, n must be negative 8. And so, guys, hopefully this is not too overwhelming. We learned this a few months ago. Now we're just reviewing. But this video may be something you may want to watch and study more than once. And don't forget, you need to also practice similar problems like this in CUDA. Okay? So, I'll see you around.